All right, Shalom. Before I continue with this lesson, I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. I'm the brother lawyer. Come back with a quick lesson, and this lesson will be entitled "This is what the scripture means." Or I ain't gonna say that. That's too much. But basically, it'll be called a cruel leader. A cruel leader. All right. And so this article is about Trump wanting to, because it says, can Trump deport U.S. citizens like Elon Musk and Zohran Madani, but really, he wants to deport, so-called U.S. citizens, and when we read Revelation 12, let me get that. When we read Revelation 12, because Christians, they think that, it's really the devil, like actually Satan doing all this, but really it's a man. And like how the blue letter tells us that, a man can come as like Satan. And so these Edomites, because Trump, he's an Edomite, you so-called white people, are Edomites, but you have Israelites that look like them. And, Jake will be out there talking about it's confusing. No, the spirit ain't dealing with you, and, I don't mean to be like that. But in the times that we're coming into, we have a short time to learn all this, or really, like if you're a newcomer, you got to, pause, but suck all this in at once, and so it's dire that, you ask the Lord for wisdom. So yeah, Edomites, so-called white people, but you have Israelites scattered among them, which that's another topic. So these Edomites are coming down with a cruel rule. So Revelation 12:12, it says, "Therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them." Right? Because we dwell in the heavens. You got different layers different how it's not different atmosphere, but you got different heavens. This the first heaven here on earth. Second heaven is space, or the sky, or really the sky, like the what they call that, this is the firmament. So you got this earth, which is the first heaven. You got the second heaven and the third heaven. The third heaven is where the Heavenly Father sit. And I don't mean to go out of topic, but that's also in the scriptures real quick. It's in Corinthians. Because, let's see. Paul was speaking about a place that he couldn't speak about, so to speak. So this is 2 Corinthians 12, and I'm going off into something else. I didn't want to do this, but that's how the Spirit works. So 2 Corinthians 12:2, it says, "It is not expedient for me, doubtless, to glory. I will come to visions and revelations of the Lord." It says, "I knew a man." He says, verse 2, "I knew a man in Mashiach about 14 years ago, whether in the body I cannot tell, or whether out of the body I cannot tell. God knoweth, such in one caught up to the third heaven." So the third heaven is, where you go to, for peace. So you got different levels, like different heavens. All right. So Paul had went up to the third heaven, and he's saying right here, whether in the body I cannot tell, whether out of the body I cannot tell. So you had a so-called out of body experience. So anyway, let me get back on topic. Damn. It says, "Therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time." So this devil right here, which matter of fact, I should have got the blue letter. So Revelation 12. Let me get the blue letter. We're going to go into the word devil. It's going to say diablos. All right, so Revelation 12, and it's another scripture too, talking about how the devil's gonna cast some of you into prison, So Revelation 12 and 12. All right. So tools and where's it at? The inhabitants of the earth. All right. So devil G is G 1228. Let me turn this up. Make sure my volume's up.
Strong's G 1228. Diabolos. Diabolos.
Yeah, so it's Diablos. And it says prone to slander, slanderous, accusing falsely. It says, in the second one, metaphor applied to a man who by opposing the cause of God, it says may be said to act the part of the devil or to side with him. Ooh, let me pull that up. All right. Bear with me 1 second. I gotta find. Did I press the wrong? Yeah, I pressed the wrong one. Let me exit off. All right. Go back. All right, so right here. So a nigga won't say I'm lying and making this up. And it says right here, metaphor applied to a man who by opposing the cause of God may be said to act the part of the devil or to side with him. So this right here is a man. Now, and so he knows he has but a short time. And so the prophecies are for him to have an enterprise that he wants to perform, which is his NWO. Because he lost the blessing. All this goes right back to, Genesis dealing with Jacob and Esau. They lost their blessing. Right now they're in a blessing. The blessing of Esau is to have the fatness of the earth. The best parts. He's going to be looked at as God. He's going to be the head of society, and that's evident. The money, before you had the BRICS nations, all nations were using the dollar. Hell, even these other countries, they had a form of the greenback. Might be in a different color, look a little bit more prettier and all that shit, but they had a form of the American currency, which is, the petrodollar. And many countries still do, And so that's why the BRICS nations was formed, to have a different type of currency, And so, anyway, I don't want to lose my train of thought. Let me get this. So Revelation 2 and 10, it says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Us being so-called deported, put into concentration camps. Revelation 24, some of us being beheaded. Don't fear none of these things. And you're not supposed to fear men. You're supposed to fear the Lord. You're supposed to fear him that can destroy both soul and body in hell. So Revelation 2 and 10, fear none of these things, or those things which thou shalt suffer the devil. So this man shall cast some of you into prison, that ye be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death. So it's sitting here saying, be faithful unto death. So even if you got to die, be faithful. Be faithful to who? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. It says, and I will give thee a crown of life, which is the kingdom of heaven. So us in this truth, starting at, Great Millstone. I'm not saying 100% all of us, because, you got niggas in Great Millstone. You got niggas in all camps, and that's the issue. But, we're going to be faithful. Straight up, and whether even if you're not in the camp, but you believe in the doctrine, you push the 100% doctrine, you're going to be good. You calling upon the names, you teaching in the names of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, you're going to be straight. You're going to be taken care of. All right. because everybody, in Great Millstone is not going to make it, and vice versa in other camps. So, you got to work out your own salvation and really hope and pray and be humble, So yeah, he's going to come down with that great wrath. Give me 1 second, because this ain't playing. This is just straight off, the dome. And by the way, these different policies, that's how he's bringing forth his agenda. See, because what I was saying is Christians think, like dealing with Satan, he's just doing, whatever he wants. It's just going to happen in one day. Everything is just going to change. No, it's gradualism. Everything is over a short time or a long time. That's what I meant to say. I got sidetracked. I'm all over, Daniel 8:25, it trips me out because Elder Apostle Hard, he do that. But I mean, camps do, we do it at camp, on lesson topics, it switch up so much, but the spirit is like the wind, it might go southwest, it's going to go southeast, and now it's going to go northwest. So that's just how it is. Daniel 8:25, so much information in little time. It says, and through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, which is his mind, his NWO. It says that he opposes himself as God. If he opposes himself as God, that means that he look at himself as God. Like, what's Yahweh to me? That's what he's saying. What's Yahweh Shah to me? That's him magnifying himself. When he began to feel his belly, like how it says in Job. Let me get that. All right, got that on deck. So anyway, Daniel 8:25, this won't be too long. And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. It says, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. And that's what he did. You see what he said to Iran? Well, really, after what he did, and I just said, he bombed them first, then talk about, well, let's make peace, But really, it says, and by peace shall destroy many. He can come to you as peaceful. Because really, I mean, he even did that to Iran. We're going to give it a couple of weeks. And then it was really overnight, or it happened that same day, because the time zones are different. Like right now, it's nighttime. Over there is, probably 8 o'clock in the morning, or 9 or whatever, 7. So, but that's what he do. And by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken with our hands. So he's going to stand up against Yahweh Shah. This is actually talking about, the war in heaven, because when Yahweh Shah returns, Esau, his military, the jets, they're going to seek to fight against, Yahweh Shah. But Esau is not going to win. And I don't want to forget, I'll probably just get this last one in Job, and I'll close it out. Like I said, it ain't meant to be nothing too long, but, don't fear, But, hey, this is a cruel ruler. And because really, when you have a so-called president like this, it trickles down to the people. And you see how these Edomites are. They only care about color, color and money. But really, even these lower level Edomites, they're chumps, they're chumps, because really this is going to affect them too. It said, woe unto the inhabitants and the earth, so this is going to affect, everybody. Of course, Jacob, so-called Black Latinos, Native Americans, we're going to go through it, but he's even going to do this to his own people. He's going to destroy his own people. He's not even good to himself. He won't be good to nobody else, So this is Job 20. Oh, and this is a lot, man. Really, the whole chapter of Job is dealing with Esau, Edom. So I get the main parts. Damn, man. So I'm gonna start. Man, we should not save. So I'm gonna start at verse 22. It says, "In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall be upon him." So he's gonna go through difficulties himself. Because even the curses they fallen upon Esau, Edom. The curses that fell upon the Israelites is happening to Esau, Edom, and really these other nations. And it's gonna be twofold. They got to go through double. Really Esau, Edom. But these other nations, they got to get it, because they all partake in taking us down. It says, verse 23, "When he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating, while he's enjoying himself." Because when you full, you feel relaxed. You can't do nothing. You feel lazy. Really, the rich, they're always full. The rich, the ones with money, they never go hungry. Jake that came from nothing, that come into a little money or something, they understand how it feels to actually be not satisfied, to be starving, or to eat something, you still hungry. We still go through that. We don't eat to our heart's desire. The wicked do that. Really the Esau, Edom, they do that. They haven't had a struggle. So it says, when he's about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fear of his wrath upon him. So when he begins to feel himself, to feel satisfied with his new world order, he thinking stuff is going according to plan. He's satisfied. His belly's fat. The Most High shall cast the fear of his wrath upon him. That's what he's going to do. He's going to catch him off guard. It says, "And shall rain it upon him while he's eating." So while he's enjoying himself, eating is a pleasurable thing. It's pleasant. It's pleasing to the flesh. This, what Esau, Edom is causing, is pleasing to his flesh. Wickedness. That's all he know. To oppress people, kill. You don't do what I say, I'm going to kill you, knock you off. They always done that. Going back to the Romans. All right. It says, verse 24, "He shall flee from the iron weapon. The bow of steel shall strike him through. It is drawn and cometh out of the body. Yea, the glittering sword cometh out of his gall. Terrors are upon him." So he's going to go through terrors. America's going to be destroyed. That glittering sword's going to strike him through. He's going to lose his kingdom, queendom. It ain't no kingdom. It's a queendom. He's going to lose all this. So Lord will, this is a edifying lesson. And my fault. Because I said that when you have a king like this, it trickles down to the people. So second Esdras? Or Sirach? I think it's Sirach 10. Yep. So this is Sirach 10. Because Trump ain't no wise ruler. He ain't instructing nobody. Sirach 10:1. "A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered." And this society, this government ain't well ordered, because look at the ruler. And right here, verse 2, "As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers, and what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein." So you're gonna be like your judge, your president today, your king. When your king leads the people the right way, they're gonna be the same way. So you don't see that. So this murderous man, along with I ain't gonna say that, but along with the ones that's over him, telling him what to do, they're all in like manner. And so that trickles down to the people, because they're the ones that's ruling. So that murderous mindset is gonna happen is going to be upon the people, not just Edomites, but so-called Blessed Latinos, Native Americans, the whole everybody. When he brings forth more chaos and what's called anarchy, lack of food, what the people gonna do? And that's what they want, so they can bring in this new world order and fill their belly, and continue to eat. So, Lord, this is edifying lesson, giving our praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushua, by Hashem, Kakadash, Shalom.